LinkedIn. I put it on LinkedIn too. I'm just trying out this tool. Do you use this also to go live for your live stuff?
StreamYard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I use StreamYard.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I wonder if there's a way for me to take this live. Also,
I think. Oh, that's a good question. On your side, do you see something like Restream? I think you can add it to your YouTube as well. If I turn that on, actually, I don't know. I don't know how that works.
I thought I've been able to do it before. I don't see this. I don't see it available though here. I'll just repost it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I got some people coming in, but let's wait for 1 second. I change one thing, and then we just kick it off. All right. Whenever you are ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm ready, my man. I'm just posting it right now.
All right. Well, all right, Gary Cardone, welcome back to Bitcoin for Millennials.
Good to see you, man.
Great to see you.
You'll have to forgive me if I'm a little slow this morning. I stayed up till 3:30 playing cards with a bunch of Bitcoin friends.
Oh, nice. That's nice. Well, yeah, I think we'll have a fun conversation. We reconnected like last week, and we thought like, hey, let's just record another episode again. I think there's a lot that we could talk about. I also asked on X if some people have any questions for you. But yeah, first I kind of wanted to start with this recurring word that's kind of been on my mind, especially as I've watched, kind of sentiment go back and forth on Bitcoin X and Twitter. I'm thinking about the word patience a lot. So, despite the fundamental case for Bitcoin remaining, I think, super strong, hash rate is hitting all-time highs. Many people are fixated on short-term news, announcements about possible U.S. strategic reserves or not, comments from people like Scott Bessent. And, sometimes there's a dip, then there's a rally. People ask, hey, what's happening? But I think people should be more patient, right? Have the long-term case for Bitcoin in mind and, basically hone their craft, stack sets, and basically hodl. And I wanted to ask you, how do you personally build conviction for the long haul, or how have you done that with regards to Bitcoin? And what kind of advice would you share on cultivating this long-term thinking with the people listening?
Well, Rome's not built in a day, and what most certainly wasn't built in a day. And I don't think I'm not in a big rush. I don't know what everyone's in a big rush for. The returns on this asset class, risk adjusted, are so spectacular. I really don't understand what the big rush is. And by the way, if you're 32, all you have to do is wait till you're 36. Seriously, it's 4 years. No one loses money if they hold Bitcoin at 4 years. If you would have bought Bitcoin's high, $69,000, $70,000 three years ago, it is $115,000 on a $70,000 product 4 years ago, a decent return. It ain't a bad return. So I think people are greedy, man, and their expectations of how to make your life more valuable. I think people's expectations are doesn't really require a lot of patience, quite frankly. It requires some discipline. I think discipline's the right word, not the patience. The patience is, getting pushed out for a $15,000 move, going down. Yeah. So I think people are patience. I mean, but it's really discipline. And if you just compare that to building your own business, the discipline required to build your own business is significant. and you're not guaranteed a return. I mean, you could spend 3-4 years on an idea and it just doesn't go anywhere. You could spend 3 or 4 years on an idea and your partner doesn't want to go that next level. Or you buy a house and you go, hey, I'm going to only be here for 4 years, but then the market turns and you can't get out of that house. So I just, we were talking about an investment that over 4 to 12 years will change your life. And without guessing, without having the risk of a CEO who's a great CEO, but he gets married to the wrong person, or he dies in an airplane crash, or who knows. But for the first time in my life, man, I can buy something that has no human error risk except me. I am the risk here.
I find it interesting when people say like Bitcoin is speculative, right? Like you're speculating. And then my reply is always, well, if you're invested in Tesla stock or Apple, you're also speculating that Elon or Tim Cook wakes up in the morning, right? So I never really find that an argument, but that's a side note. I think maybe to the discipline part, also with regards to building a business, right? It is partially this advice of don't stop, keep going in the best way you can go possible. But I think attached to that discipline is also continuous reflection in a sense, right? Like when you're building a business or like you said, example of you buy a home and you want to live somewhere. Like don't get lazy, like stay on your toes, be informed, right? So that you can actually make a continuous decision that you're actually consciously thinking about, right? So whether you still want to build a business or this partner is still the partner for you in building the business. I think the same applies to Bitcoin in a sense that the conviction is built not because someone else says, oh, you should buy Bitcoin, you're going to be rich, or etc., right? It's built on your own study and reflection on what you thought you knew, right? Or what you realized that you really didn't know about money and all these things. So I do think that's really hard nowadays, or became harder because we live in an environment that kind of constantly tempts us, right? With all these crazy headlines or predictions or whatever. So there is also a battle for your mind or your focus in a sense. Sorry, you're muted.
Sorry. Look, I don't see another asset that's quite like this. And this speculation word, I have been able to do more research on this opportunity than most people are able to do on their career path. Think about it. You go join ExxonMobil. Are you speculating on your career opportunities? I think you're absolutely speculating. However, with Bitcoin, I can do a tremendous amount of research, much more research than I can do on a job or on a location in a town for buying a house. Or look, I don't need to convince anyone to buy Bitcoin. It's not my job. My job is not to convince a bunch of people to buy Bitcoin. My job is to buy as much Bitcoin as I can. And if my friends around me can figure out what's happening, then they too jump on the board. But I'm not an evangelist trying to get somebody to convert their whole life to Bitcoin. I choose not to miss opportunities when they're presented to me. And this one is a gift from the gods, man. Like I'm just not going to turn my nose to it.
Yeah.
It's been great for 15 years. Why does anyone think it's going to start losing its pizzazz?
I think that's a great argument in general, right? But I think there's just many people that find it, even you saying I don't have to convince anyone else. I think it's so funny so for some people that might sound actually very bullshitty or snake oil salesman. You know what I mean? Like it sounds too good to be true. I mean, and like in the fiat, in fiat,
you don't have to buy my Bitcoin.
No, that's so true.
I'm not asking you to buy my Bitcoin. I mean, seriously though, we spend too much time trying to promote it and Bro, you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. Buy a house. I have one right here. I'll sell you right now. I will sell you my house right now.
Yeah.
No agents. I'll give you a fucking 4% discount. You'll save 500, 600 grand. Done. Let's roll.
Yeah. I'm more saying it because that's the attitude of people, right? Like that's how they fade this opportunity that is basically staring them in the face, right? Like you said, there is I say this a lot, but like Bitcoin is an asymmetric opportunity based on publicly available information, but you have to find the information, you have to dissect the information, you have to reflect on what you thought you learned or how you think, you know, finance or economics or personal finance works. And I think many people either understand it at the surface level. I definitely was one of them, right? Or people operate at the surface level of, yeah, curiosity and discipline as well, right? I mean, in my journey into Bitcoin, especially people that were older than me that actually showed a lot of conviction, coming from a certain type of career and then applying their expertise to then eventually getting into Bitcoin were exceptional triggers for me, right? Like, because I saw these people changed their mind. I mean, we've talked about how you got into Bitcoin before in other podcasts that we did, and I think, you know, it's similar for your story in that sense, right? So I think the ability to change your mind or be just fluid in a sense in your beliefs is quite a personal trait that a lot of people are missing, maybe even without them actually knowing it, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, my whole life I've been looking. I've been a bit of an adventurer and been hunting. I've been hunting these opportunities. And why do I hunt these opportunities? Because for whatever reason, when I left school, I was like, hey, I have to pay my way now. Like, I'm growing up now. I have to pay my way. I have to produce something. My dad's not here. My mommy's not here to take care of me. So, like, what am I going to do? So I've been hunting opportunities. People call it speculating, but if you think about being someone who's just like, go back 300 years going, hey, I'm looking for the gold. I'm looking for the gold. I'm looking for that thing, that ranch, that window of opportunity. Bitcoin pops up and I can poo-poo it. I can listen to all the people from the old age of Bitcoin and pick out a lot of differences in the way I look at the world. I see the Bitcoin world and I immediately don't understand it because I'm applying my perspective that I grew up with from the analog age, the 20th century. Everything has this coloring on it from the 20th century. I have to learn what I don't really understand about the financial world I live in. Not the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is bloody easy, dude. It's the shit I'm holding on to from the old world. For instance, this hunting thing. Let's say you're a real estate guy and you've been buying real estate in Louisiana. You know real estate in Louisiana. Louisiana goes to shit in a handbasket because of a hurricane. Your speculating ability just got very limited. Okay, because you no longer know you don't know anything about Texas. You don't have any agents in your back pocket. You don't have friends. You don't know where the best zip codes are, much less Nebraska or Omaha or, you know. My point is, Bitcoin is consistent state to state, country to country, county to county, zip code to zip code. Real estate is not consistent anywhere. Neighborhoods with 3 zip code numbers different, postcode differences, it's massively different, right? So the point I'm trying to make is, why do I look at real estate or gold mining or oil production and go, wow, look at these guys, they're speculating. And then I look at Bitcoin and go, wow, these guys are crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I used to know people, families that were known for working their asses off because they were looking for gold, just digging for it, dying in mines, right? I go digging Bitcoin and people think I'm crazy. In fact, they not only think I'm crazy, but they think I'm getting rich and doing nothing. But you know what I'm doing? I'm holding on to the gold, dude. That's all I'm doing. My job is to protect the Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And to keep getting as much as possible. And then one day the world wakes up and goes, oh, wow, we're not pushing stone wheels down the 405 highway anymore. Gosh, we actually now are going more than 10 miles an hour on these roads. We're now doing 100 miles an hour. And we cannot allow that stone wheel that weighs 300 tons to go down the highway. It's going to cause some destruction. Well, what is the 300-ton wheel? It's the legacy business, man. It's all these companies that have done deals with other companies to solve a problem that happened in 1990, and they partnership up, they get married to solve a Bank of America hires First Data to do some processing for it. And then 25 years later, they try to unwind that relationship. Dude, it takes 10 years to unwind the relationship. This is why legacy is going to get buried in the digital world, because they are going to have to divorce themselves of all these partnerships that at one time served a purpose. It served a purpose to solve a problem, and that problem has either mutated, changed, or is no longer even there. The problem itself is the partnership, because it's not fluid. It can't move. Bitcoin, you see how fast things are moving now. I mean, we have a miner who went up 60% in 3 days. A miner went up 60% in 3 days because Google walks in, Google walks in and invests 8% of the company. Google, this is happening now. Google getting into the AI mining business, right? And they're all coming, dude. The energy players will end up in Bitcoin. The tech players will end up in parts of the Bitcoin value chain. Think of Bitcoin as a value chain, an industry. Whether they're going into mining, finance, whether they're going buying, what am I doing? I'm effectively buying the gold in the mine without needing a toothpick or a shovel. That's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah.
I've skipped the picks and shovels. I've literally just been able to buy the gold.
Yeah. And I think that's actually what the opportunity is, right? That many people are still missing. In a sense, we are very early. But when you start thinking about, and I really like what you mentioned about just historical perspectives, you know, the change of one technology to another, or the gold rush before, like all this stuff has happened before, right? Like this is nothing new. Bitcoin is the new thing, but like all the behavior around it, people being early, people thinking they're late, people selling the picks and shovels, people then investing in the miners or whatever, like all these things have happened before, right? Like that is nothing new. And I think once you start understanding, and it even goes, by the way, to the use case of Bitcoin, right? Like the movement from a weak money to a stronger money. That has happened many times before in history. And I used the example, for example, in Cuba or in the Canadian American border region, where people can pay with dollars, but they get the local currency back, right? Like people aren't stupid. They know that if they can exchange a stronger money for a weaker money, they're gonna do it, right? And I think the difficulty with Bitcoin perhaps is that like it's everything you don't know about finance combined with everything you don't know about computers, you know, like that stuff. So it takes some time for people to get it. But like once you get it and you take off the glasses of this old paradigm and you step into this new paradigm, and then you look back at the old paradigm with your new glasses, right? Then you can see that you are very, very far ahead. And maybe that's where my idea for the patience came from, right? Because a lot of people that are complaining online, they are to a degree where we are, to their own degree where we are in our own degree. And then they're looking back with these new glasses on this old world, like why aren't they getting it? No, dude, like you are very early and you have to wait. You have to wait. And that is hard. Like I see people getting distracted and stuff like that, but that is why you need to wait. You need to believe in yourself, in the work that you did, the study, the reflection, etc. Sorry, you're muted again.
Sorry. I think the hardest part is the not doing anything.
You think you need to do something to become wealthy, right?
Like I went to Last Wednesday, I went to a movie with my 15-year-old at 2:30 in the afternoon. Now, okay, you can say it's summertime, okay, but like, I think it's pretty cool that I could just slide out of my house at 2:30 in the afternoon, go hang out with my 15-year-old daughter watching IMAX, not with a big crowd. She and I had a great afternoon, had a hot dog. And people are going, wow, dude, you know, you're not worthy. You shouldn't have been able to make $2 million on that one day. Right? Because you're not going to meetings and you're not getting on airplanes and you're not hustling. You're not behaving like a rat in a mousetrap doing this. So you don't, like, I have to compete with myself and most everybody in my family who believes that you need to actually do shit constantly like a crackhead or a junkie chasing fiat to get your fill. So you got a couple more zeros in your bank account and you feel okay. You feel good about yourself. I really enjoy going to the movie with my 15-year-old daughter. It was awesome, dude. 2:30 in the afternoon. And I felt this much guilt. Okay. I deserve to live this way. You deserve to live this way. What's the deal, dude? Why do we have to be a prisoner to success? I have become a prisoner to my own success. That's insane, man.
I love it. Yeah,
I went to that way either. It really hits me hard. Somebody in the thing says, "Hey, is your stuff that I'm doing with IM related to Bitcoin?" Most certainly it is. I would never be doing the IM in any other business activity. And if you think what I'm doing on IM on Sundays, I actually think it's the most exciting thing I'm doing. It's the most important thing I'm doing for sure. I cannot believe that I'm saying that to whoever's going to listen to this. And I would never have done it in the credit card business, the fraud business, or the energy business. Never, because my clients would have banned me. My clients would not like, Visa won't like that message. I don't know why they don't like the message. Maybe it makes people strong. Maybe that's the reason. But this has given me a real understanding of unique, rare value. The word value has stopped being used. Like, I value my relationship with you. I cannot place a number on it. Now, if you force me and go, "Hey, man, you can't ever talk to Graham again. Here's $100 grand." Okay, I might take the $100 grand. I mean, you know, but at a cost.
Yeah.
So I can't place a value on a relationship, especially if I'm not trying to look at you as a transaction unit. I'm interested in you as a relationship unit, an experiential unit, not, "Hey, I have another humanoid in my Rolodex." That one day when I need you, I can call you. I'm only going to interact with you when I need you is a very myopic, selfish. Like, I don't look at people initially. I see them and go, "Okay, what am I going to extract out of these people?" I don't like that. Don't call me to extract something out of me. Right? There's so much value between people, especially when you meet a good human being. You know, when I met you, I'm like, "Hey, there's a good human being here." Yeah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you're perfect. Doesn't mean you're gonna make some dumb. I stayed up way too late last night, drank too much whiskey. I had a blast, and now I'm paying for it. And I made some good money. Somebody owes me, I think, 3 Bitcoin. No, just kidding. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, and by the way, that's the other thing. Sunday night, I was able to play cards with 10 guys, 10 friends. I'd never met half of them.
Yeah.
I met them all through this thing. They all pop up at my house. We have a dealer. We played cards, had a fun. Nobody got hurt. Everybody's laughing. I wish people would have talked about value to me when I was building things. Value of time, of just having. I started this book this weekend, man. I'm
Which
reading
one?
more.
Which one? I
This,
don't see it. It's you're centered in the.
this is The Power of
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
a heavy book, dude. And it really speaks to identities and labels and titles and how I'm not a rich guy. I don't want to be known as that guy, dude. I want to, hey, that's Gary. It's not, oh, Gary's the energy guy. When I was 38 years old, it was very clear to me, oh man, dude, you're kicking it, dude. You're kicking it on all 12 cylinders. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not having fun anymore. And I really, why am I still here? Why am I still doing this job? I was the CEO of 600 people in London. And I was like, I'm here because it feels good, man. I like ExxonMobil calling me going, hey, how much can I buy from you this year? Ooh, ExxonMobil is calling little Gary Cardone. My ego was getting so jacked up. I'm sitting in the back of a car being driven somewhere. And I'm like, my God, dude, the only reason I'm here, I'm making $7 million a year, and my ego. That's the only reason I'm here. I'm not having fun. I don't like this anymore. I had to admit that to myself. Many people were like, do not disconnect yourself from a business you put 30 years into. I'm like, I don't like it anymore. It's not interesting to me. I figured the game out. I cut my loss. I didn't cut my losses. I sold all my stock and I burned the bridge to that world because I didn't want to be a one industry player. I thought, hey, I think I can learn some other things. And this has led me to having an open mind about opportunities that you call speculating. I look at it and go, I've been hunting. See, if I wouldn't have disconnected myself from the energy business, I knew so much about it, still do. I mean, I'm probably one of 300, 200 energy experts in the world that really, really understands the macro picture of energy, how to do it, who's doing it, when they're doing it, how much it costs to do it, all the hedges put in between countries. Fascinating industry to learn in. But if I would have held on to all that, I would be a very, very poor man. Why? Because I put all my energy into one industry, and these industries have cycles. I believe I have a cycle that every 7 to 12 years, 7 to 12, it's a very magical period. I don't have any like science on this, but for me, 7 to 12 years, I begin doing really bizarre things. My friends immediately change in this cycle. I need to actually clean my friends up. Every 7 to 10 years, I'm a different human being, dude. Every cell in my body, every 7 years has been completely transformed. Every cell. So how is it that I'm still holding on to my friends from 28 when I'm 48? Now, I may have one or two friends that are consistent, but I think I'm going to need people like you in my life to keep me fresh, dude. And by bouncing around these industries, I'm a smart guy. Okay. All I have to do is learn the difference between, hey, I'm not calculating in inches anymore. I'm going to have to learn how to do metric. Okay. And that is literally the difference in a business is the nomenclature.
Yeah.
It's the nomenclature. Once you realize, oh, wow, it's just words. Every business is literally the same. And it's the words that make it different. And the words are made up by a bunch of guys on Wall Street.
I have a few thoughts here. I love what you mentioned about going to the theater. A few weeks ago, I went to like a Lego museum with my son on like a Friday morning, and we were alone. We were like fully alone, and he was like, "Where is everyone?" And I said, "Not everyone can do this, but we can be together here." And then we looked at the Lego stuff, and then we played Lego. I don't know, for like 2.5 hours or something. But
You'll never forget that, dude. You'll never forget that.
Yeah, it's amazing we can do that, but also it is true Bitcoin that I actually discovered what I really thought about money being time. Like I always used money as something to buy time, to have time and space to explore something that I was curious about, like another venture or idea or a job along the way, right? And but actually, when I got into Bitcoin and I put on these new glasses and I looked back, I was like, oh, this is how I approached money, but I never really understood that before I understood Bitcoin and this connection to, your finite time in life and the finite energy you can expend, like that analogy basically. And so yeah, I have a few thoughts or like a question, because there was a question from X that someone wanted to ask you, what advice can you give to moderately successful Bitcoin investors who still feel stuck in the rat race? I think, well, that's a great bridge from what you just said, right? But maybe from your own point of view, like how do you now look back at perhaps how conscious you were when you were operating the business and thinking you were cool, and now looking back at that being like, that wasn't me, or I changed, right? And maybe one last note, that the change part, when you were talking about that made me think about, there's this whole idea of the 7-year cycles of life. I don't know if you ever looked at that, right? But yeah, that is actually every 7 years. So like from 28 to 35, 35, 42, and so on. So perhaps that is something that you are also familiar with, but that's the first thing that I thought about, right? Like that it is logical that you progress to a certain degree also based on your experiences and new understandings and interests.
Well, yes. Listen, when I was leaving college, the message was, hey, go get into an industry and become really good at it. That was really bad information. That is what most people did. I did go get into an industry, but I was smart enough to go, hey, I don't have to live in this industry forever. And appreciate that, like these guys that talk about Bitcoin, hey, I'll never sell. That is not me. I will sell my Bitcoin one day, because this cycle will be over. Like you and I were talking last week, I don't have any interest in being a Bitcoin infomercial or a speaker, or, I will not talk about Bitcoin in 3 years the way I'm talking about it today. There won't be much to talk about. This will be so embedded in the system. It's either going to be, oh, wow, that guy's a cotillionaire, or he's not. The guy that's going to get hurt is the guy that avoided Bitcoin, tipped his toe in. Like I was with a guy last night. He's got 3 kids. He makes $3 million a year. He's getting ready to buy a house. I said, bro, why are you doing that, man? He said, well, I have Bitcoin. And I said, well, you don't have enough Bitcoin. Like, I don't know how you could possibly have enough Bitcoin right now. Right at this point, like, he's 30 years old, dude. I'm looking at him going, bro, when you're 40, he's got to think, he said he had 10 or 20, maybe 90 Bitcoin. And I think it's a mistake if you have 90 Bitcoin, which is awesome, okay? But like, don't get rid of it. Keep stacking it. I don't know why people stop. Not right now. You don't stop. Everybody and their brother's getting ready to buy this stuff. So what is money? Money is power, man. Let's be honest. He who has the power wins the game. And I think we're getting ready to go through a massive step change in society, in the world. We are going through a cycle of cycles. Imagine 7 cycles all wrapped in over 70 years, and the whole cycle is collapsing. By collapsing, I mean really, really changing. It's so big now. These cycles, imagine, one cycle and then another cycle, and it's like a snowball. Okay. And then you think about, wow, what is the friction required for the snowball to go down the hill, knowing that Visa, MasterCard, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Vanguard, all these intermediaries, dude, they're all on the downside of that mountain, and Bitcoin's just rolling over. And they can't even get out of their own way to actually elevate themselves into that game. What do? They start buying the entire industry, dude. Google buys Wolf, right? The miner. You're going to see Google, Meta. You will see every tech player and every energy player in the entire Bitcoin value chain. The whole thing, okay? And if people that listen to people like me, and you wonder why we're so jacked up and excited, there must be a reason. There must be a reason, man, because like I don't know anyone that's gotten this right yet.
Sometimes I think about that when people that I know still are skeptical of Bitcoin, and when they talk to me, and then I say like, well, you've known me for 10 years. Why do you think I'm paying attention to this, right? But I think that is such an interesting tension in a sense, right? Because they know me. They know I'm a diligent person who investigates, is risk averse, minds his time, right? Like I'm very diligent with my time, but still they are not like, holy, what the fuck is he doing? You know what I mean? Like maybe I should pay attention to that. And I think that is also how they say, like, I don't know, something that keeps on intriguing me while at the same time all this stuff is happening, right? I saw you talked about the 1 million price point, and people having all these different types of models, but there are so many catalysts and things happening in macro right now. A lot of things happening parallel but also converging, right? Can you maybe share a bit about that, like how now that you put on these Bitcoin glasses and you're looking back basically at the old paradigm, what is happening there, and what are you taking serious? Oh, you're muted again.
I think the most serious thing that I'm paying attention to is just the geopolitical fragmentation and change that has occurred in the last year. A year ago, before Trump got into office, we were still kind of pretending like we were going to be globalists. That's not going to happen now. We're going to have 4 or 5 macro marketplaces, what I call a poly market, multiple markets. There's good news and there's bad news. Bad news is there's going to be some really big companies that are centralized. You probably won't be able to compete in a global marketplace with 5 markets if you're not monsters, big players. That's the downside is, where's the innovation going to come from? I think the innovation comes from crackers, exploiters, speculators, aggressive guerrilla warfare technologists who begin, and there will be millions of us who will chase margin and eat all the inefficiencies in the old legacy system. And by eat it, I mean it will attract all that margin that the Visas of the world make for doing absolutely nothing. YouTube charges you 33.3%. If I send you $300, they're going to keep $100 for doing nothing. Zero risk. Meta will do the same thing to you. Okay, it is rape, financial rape. It is absolutely outrageous that we have regulators today allow this shit. If Visa and MasterCard tried to charge you 33 cents on the dollar, it would be a felony, man. Okay, but Google just strips it from you. These are utilities. They're massive duopolies, monopolies pretending to be in an oligopoly in a competitive market, and there is zero competition. So all of that money goes. Like Google is not going to make $1 million every 58 seconds in the future. Meta makes $1 million every 9 seconds. Wake up, man. These are criminal organizations that are being allowed to be criminals by the regulators. Crazy, man. Okay, so the amount of money that's made on this planet from inefficiencies. Visa and MasterCard have 600 million chargeback disputes across their transaction platform. It is not a payments platform because it never makes payments. It moves transactions around. That's all it is. It's a fucking tollway. It can't even calculate the numbers correctly of what's hitting the highway. But if you hit the highway, even if you don't make it to your destination, Visa and MasterCard still make a piece. If you refund, Visa and MasterCard take a piece. If the transaction declines for some bizarre reason, mostly Visa and MasterCard, they make a fee. Okay, they have a value-added services section, Visa and MasterCard do. If for you analytic guys, they would love to go take a look into how opaque these regulated, regulated duopolies are. They call it value-added services. You literally cannot determine how much money they make, but it's 30 and 40% of their total revenue stream is from fraud services that are solving friction plumbing problems, dude. It's not even fraud. If there was that much fraud, Visa and MasterCard shouldn't even be public companies if there's that much fraud. When you're making 20 and 30 and 40% from selling fraud solutions, it's leaking plumbing, okay? The system was built in the 1960s. And it's trying to operate trillions of transactions, none of which settle for 180 plus days. And then there's this Bitcoin thing. I can smash you $3 million of Bitcoin. You have it in 10 minutes. And not only do you have it, but there is no recourse that I can take to unwind that transaction. Now that, you're in the Netherlands. I can move $2 million to you in the Netherlands and you're settled and I have no recourse. This is God's money, dude. I don't even need a fucking lawyer. Whoa, this is cool, man. It's $2,000 an hour now to get a good lawyer. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm literally sending you money and I don't need a lawyer. I don't need any paperwork. I don't need an NDA. I don't need another agreement that I can't understand with that comma placed in just the right place to trap my ass. Oh, by the way, I also get to use it 24/7. And something that you may not fully appreciate about the legacy system is open 20 hours a week. 20 hours a week, man. Monday through Friday, 9 to 4. Assuming there's not a bank holiday, assuming someone hasn't been shot, assuming there's not a funeral, assuming, maybe 20 weeks a year, we have a 5-day work week. Okay, Bitcoin's working 8,760 hours a year. Let me repeat it, 8,760 hours a year, and the legacy market might be working 20 hours a week. 20 hours a week times 52. Wow, 1,000 hours a year. The banking system works out of 8,760. Bitcoin works 8,760 hours a year. Right? I mean, it's a very big deal. People go, well, yeah, they're open Monday. Dude, it's 8,760 to 1,000. The banks are only open 1,000 of the 8,000 hours available. Fuck. That is so much volume. The addressable market on this thing is going to be absolutely spectacular. Like, where is the downside? You use the word speculation. Damn right, this is speculation, dude. The speculation is not gambling. I've speculated since I was 22. You speculate on your careers too, by the way, guys. Yeah, you should be looking at speculation going, I am looking to speculate. I'm looking for that outsized return and with a limited amount of risk for me to take. And if the outsized return is so good, then maybe I can suffer a little more risk. And that risk may be, hey, I'm not going to own a home. I'm going to rent and somebody can pop me out in 6 months if they want. Why do I care if somebody calls me up? Bro, you got to get out. Okay, I'll go somewhere else. I can rent somewhere else. I'm not going to buy that $90,000 car. Okay. I don't need that $90,000. I can't really afford it. I'd rather that 90 grand to go to Bitcoin. Maybe one day I can buy Bitcoin the same way I buy a car and a house, which is no money down. I get to buy something that I can't even afford, but I looked at my brother one day. Bro, what is your real estate worth if you can't borrow 80, 90 cents on the dollar? It's worth like 50 cents on the dollar at best. It's probably worth 90. It's probably worth 10 cents on the dollar if you can't get any mortgage. What is Bitcoin worth when I can borrow for it against it? By the way, I am borrowing fiat against my Bitcoin today. Let me be clear. I am not lending my Bitcoin out to get a return. Why would I want a 5% return on Bitcoin? I am borrowing money, fiat, against my Bitcoin and then buying more Bitcoin. And as long as my rate is 8% or less, I will do that ad infinitum as long as I can pay the interest every month that it costs to fund that new Bitcoin. And I will be fucking massively wealthy from this play, dude. Massively. I don't know why, if I'm stuck in the energy business, I see this Bitcoin thing come along that I'm going to be so gravitated and hooked into the energy business, I can't open my eyes up and look at this opportunity. So once in a lifer, man. Once in a century event. This is not going to happen again for many years. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be other opportunities, but 115,000. Look, I own this house. This house now is worth $120 million. Now, it's a beautiful home, okay? I get a lot done here. I like it. It's safe, but it's not worth $120 million. That was with $8 million worth of Bitcoin. Okay. That if I would have taken $8 million and bought Bitcoin, then the house, the truth is I probably wouldn't have done that back then. It's just too much. But I now have to look at this and go, hey, 4 years from now, see, I'm not really bitching about the decision I made, but I am now sitting here going, hey, I need to understand that this house is going to be worth $250 million in 4 years. Is this house worth $250? Because it's already cost me $120. Now I can sit here and go, hey, it's a house. Dude, it's $130 million. It's $130 million. Like that is a lot of money. Okay. I don't care how much Bitcoin I have. I have a lot of Bitcoin, but dude, it's $130 million. Okay. And it's going to go up forever. It may go up every now and then. It may not go up forever, but every day it's not going to go up. But over a long period of time, do I really would you advise me to stay here knowing it's going to cost me $150 in opportunity costs? And that's really what it is. It's an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
If I was your age, I'd be like, bro, dump the house. My age, I'm like, and I have a lot of Bitcoin. And I've gone back to the government and said, look, you're paying 85 cents on the dollar or everything I do in this home, you're paying for it. Man, my accountants were like, hey, no, that's ain't gonna fly, bro. You live there. I'm like, oh, yeah, but I interviewed and do interview Anna Luna Paluna, Vivek, Donald Trump Jr., all these important people come to my house. And by the way, you guys drove me out of my home. You drove me out of the schools. You wouldn't allow me to send my kids to school. So now I have a schoolroom here. I have food production here. You wouldn't let me go to my office. That'll never happen again because I am now in my office. I live and work from my office because you tried to trap me with COVID. And I have no assurance from you that you're not going to do it again in 6 months. So everything I do now is a cost of doing business, and the U.S. government's going to suck it up on the taxes. This is what you did when you did COVID. Like I immediately ran into redundancy. I will never trust you again, ever. Okay. And so 4 years ago, I just created a compound that allows me to do everything. I'm most certainly not going to unwind it now.
So when you think about the size of the opportunity of Bitcoin, especially for young people, And to be clear, I'm renting and stacking. So I'm renting. I was lucky to rent, by the way. But yeah. What I find very interesting, you are at a different financial level than me, and still you're kind of, it's, the word is not worried, but you're like, maybe I don't have enough Bitcoin. I need more Bitcoin. I know where this is going. Like the big idea of what this is, right? And I don't know if it was in a Spaces or like another podcast. I heard you kind of talk about, institutional billionaire money is steadily accumulating Bitcoin, like under the radar. Also now where we're kind of talking about and advocating for stacking sats and like this is what you should pay attention to. I mean, that is what this podcast is also about, right? I don't think there is a future for millennials without Bitcoin. So that's the whole underpinning or my belief as to why I am doing this. How can we make clear to people what this big opportunity is? Why are people that perhaps already have enough, as some might say, right? Why are they still paying attention to Bitcoin? Why do they want more Bitcoin? Like, what is the big picture, or what are the big signals from major players in finance that are still thinking about Bitcoin accumulation and general people are not? What are they missing? What is this big idea for you?
Well, look, man, I bought gold at $1,100 15 years ago, and nobody was doing that. They were like, gold, why are you doing? People are buying real estate and doing all kinds of things. Gold and silver are doing things they haven't done in decades. If you don't see that, then I could see how you could not understand Bitcoin. But most people don't understand finance at all, money or opportunities. I think one of the things that you're saying is, guys like me, you're probably sitting there going, hey, I mean, I'll see some of these comments like, hey, why does that guy need more Bitcoin? Why do people buy 30 Rolex watches? I don't know. Okay, but I have the right to. Nobody's stopping me. There's a limited supply of 21 million. 3 or 4 are gone. But we don't even address this market correctly. We say the market's $2.5 trillion in size. It's like, bro, then it's mispriced because y'all are assuming there's 21 million Bitcoin. And there's not. There's 17 at best. So 17 divided into 2.5 trillion is not 115 grand. It's 140 or 50 grand. See, if I told you, hey, in your country, you have your oil price is $68. Okay, but in reality, and I know that there's not really 10 million barrels in the Netherlands. There's only 7 million. There's only 7 million, but all the economists are going, no, we have 10. But there's only 7. There's only 7. Is the addressable market 65 times 10 million barrels, or is it some other number times 6 or 7 million barrels? Yeah. Because you have literally misunderstood the base volume. So why am I doing this? I'm doing this because this is the best opportunity I've ever seen in my life. I'm literally, just because I'm 67, why wouldn't I take advantage of this thing?
Yeah.
This is 86, 90% of my liquid net worth. And it's still liquid net worth. It's still not the majority of my worth. And it should be. Like if I could smash 86% into Bitcoin, my total worth, real estate, private equity, all the stuff that I've done over the years, I would take a 20% discount on everything I own. Maybe more, man. Maybe more, right? And why would I do that? I think the dollars that are coming into me every month from distributions are worth nothing. It continues to be worth nothing. It's like lemonade that has no lemon in it. Dude, it's just a bunch of
it's a label, literally, right?
You know, it's kind of like, hey, I'm going to
Yeah.
go pay extra for organic. And it's like, bro, there's nothing organic about that except the word organic.
Yes. What I like, I'm thinking about. So when you say I would take a 20% haircut if I could like liquidate all these things, this is what I meant when, like on my journey, people that are older than me, have a longer career, get into Bitcoin, say things like this, for example, right? Show their conviction in a certain way. That has really triggered me along the way to think about, okay, how should I position? That's kind of also what I meant with my previous question. Like, you are still trying to figure out how you can position yourself best for accumulating more Bitcoin, right? And so that has been big signals for me, but also the thing we talked about, how can people cut through the noise and not be distracted, have that discipline, and yes, also patience, right? I see someone commenting on YouTube, critical thoughts like, if Bitcoin was the solution, they would have killed it long time ago. Deception is their best weapon. You will get rug pulled. China and Russia are buying gold, not Bitcoin. Are they more stupid than Americans? I don't think so. And so what I find interesting is that even with all the information presented, there are still people that dismiss Bitcoin or think, they will rug pull it, or the CIA or whatever. My usual reply to that is open source computer protocol, just these words. But I find it just very, very interesting that there are so many signals, but people aren't really paying attention or challenging themselves. And I also wanted to ask you about your brother, about Grant, right? Like, Grant is really big into real estate. He's also he's now also into Bitcoin. He's doing a lot of projects, a combination of real estate and Bitcoin. And I know that you talked about Bitcoin a lot with Grant before, right? But how did you explain to him, for example, this comparison with real estate? Why is it better? How could it amplify your business, etc.? Because I think it's kind of similar also to what you talked about in the energy business, right? Like, if you just have an idea about what the world looks like, you're just going to dismiss Bitcoin based upon whatever your preconceptions or beliefs are. And I'm just seeing that in the chat, so I had to think about it's the same for real estate, for example. Just people that are very decisive on what they think, I think, will totally miss this if they don't open up their curiosity or their almost zero-sum game beliefs, nihilistic beliefs. It's all going to shit anyway, or why would I pay attention? Something like that. Yeah. Can you share a bit about that? Like how that went?
Yeah. Well, see, I think this is the trap I'm talking about. Someone that gets into an industry and they can't look outside their industry.
Mm-hmm.
They're so focused on what they do, they miss a new opportunity. And I think the important thing for the audience is not so much what these actors are doing, but how they're coming into the market, their initial reaction to this market, how they maybe acquired or were given their first Bitcoin. I say, if you were given Bitcoin, you're not yet a Bitcoiner. You need to spend your own money on Bitcoin. And then you start looking at Bitcoin differently. In the case of my brother, he got some Bitcoin back in 16 or something, 100 Bitcoin for a speaking engagement. And now it's worth a lot of money. It probably got his attention. I'm 5 years deep into this now. And again, I say my job is not to make legacy players drink the Bitcoin Kool-Aid. I don't really care if my brother buys Bitcoin or not. I mean, I want it for his family. But one, he's already wealthy. The risk to the wealthy is that they're so comfortable they don't see this. In my case, it's a game for me. Okay, like, I don't need this, but it's a game, and it's what I do I am a hunter. Okay, the cool thing about business is that you can do it your entire life. It's a game. It's like playing chess. And I have this game now that, for the first time in my life, with an accent like this, not going to a great school, I get to go to the biggest game on planet Earth that nobody knows about yet, dude. You and I, like, I would never have met you. I see some comments in here and talking about morality and stuff. Dude, there is no morality in any business. I've been in 5 of them, fucking monster industries. There is no morality. There's very few friendships. It's war of some type, usually political hack jobs, actually. And here's Bitcoin, 16 years old, been invited to every private country club in the world. Now, what do I mean by that? You don't know a 16-year-old. The ETFs, the exchange traded funds, in which the most performing ETFs in Wall Street history is Bitcoins. Every congressman, senator, every illegal politician in your, war-run continent, all own Bitcoin today because of the ETFs, either in their funds, their pensions, whatever. They all own it, dude. You got Norway buying MicroStrategy like they cannot get enough of it, $1 billion. One, they're not coming in here because they're idiots. Okay, they're coming in here because they're actually first movers. There's less than 2% adoption here. Less than 2%. This is Google back in the 90s, man. Like, are you kidding me? People talk about, in your great country, the tulip bullshit, right? The tulip mania. I will remind everyone, okay? Don't listen to that bullshit story. All you hear is the tulips. The entire flower market in the world still transacts through the Netherlands.
Correct.
Bitcoin is the platform. What are you guys talking about? I don't care if XRP crashes. Okay, that's the tulip. There's a platform of flowers that are traded around the world, and it all happens in tulip land. Like, that's a big deal, man. But what do you hear? Oh, tulip crash. What do you mean tulip crash, dude? All the flowers still trade through there. Okay.
The one-time tulip crash, by the way. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I think the morality part is when people don't really get why we're talking beyond something being an investment or becoming rich, But I think that's why I like talking to you, that you're also, and we talked about that before in this conversation, like just a reflection upon who am I, what am I doing, why am I here, what do I want to spend my time on? Like, you get there once you understand you're not saving your wealth, however much it is. By the way, I don't think it's necessarily about how much Bitcoin you have or how rich you are. It's about, what am I doing here? Why am I spending time on this? Am I still having fun? Do I want to spend my time on this? Like, am I good at this? Am I learning? Like, all these things that are way more detached from anything really materialistic, right? It's way more spiritual, personal, or however, self-development, however you want to define it. And I think that is really cool to see also in you. I mean, if you give up a long career to do something new, focus on something new, that is pretty courageous. Like, a lot of people would never do that.
Yeah, I don't really understand why they don't do this. I've never understood this, why someone stays in one field, because I just would get bored, man. Like, I could never do real estate for 40 or 50 years like my brother has. It would just be so boring to me. And it's cool that he does it. It's just not my deal. Like, I need to be intellectually stimulated, man. Once you know, like, I'm in a deal right now. I could most certainly supercharge it. I think I've invested $7 or $8 million in this deal. It's a great business. It's got great tech, but it's too much work for me. I could most certainly get on an airplane and smash this, probably build a $300-400 million business out of $7 million. That's a great return, right? I mean, that's what I do. I smash in some private equity money over a period of time, and then 6-7 years later, sell it and I make a bunch of money, but in between that, I'm broke. Nobody's paying me like to fund that business, right? So I had to look at, hey, Bitcoin or this. And quite frankly, the business had too much human error in it. It had too much human error, and human error means time. Time. I cannot afford the time issues on some of these businesses. You miss your window in a business and you're out for 4 years. So what started as a 3 or 4 or 5 year journey then ends up as a 9-year journey. Shit, man. Gemini is going public today. The Winklevoss, they've been in this trade for 10 years, man. It's a long journey, a lot of meetings, okay? And 10 years ago, Bitcoin was at what, 800? Now, what's the better trade, for them to build Gemini platform or them to just bought some more Bitcoin? It's not a binary. It's not 0 and 1s. It's not like the perfect answer, but I have an apartment building. I can buy as much Bitcoin as I can afford, and it will never have a plumbing leak. It will never have a letter from a government agency saying, hey, you owe annual taxes or we're taking your Bitcoin. I mean, that letter may come and this response will go back. It's not going to have a power problem. It's, if a hurricane rolls through here, I don't have to worry about a Cat 7 smashing my house. This home, by the way, I have a $5 million deductible, man. A $5 million deductible, and I get to pay $175,000 a year for insurance. These homes are getting really expensive. See, I can't even tell you how expensive me operating this home is going to be in 5 years. I cannot tell you that. Okay. But I can tell you I'm almost to the point where I can't even afford the insurance anymore. When the deductible is $5 million. Okay. And by the way, the insurance provider, there's one. They don't do these big homes anymore. Oh, by the way, what happens when he can't pay me? Because if I get hit, every one of my fucking neighbors got hit and they're going to go broke. So the insurance is not going to, HOA, home, but HOA fees, what's it? It's a housing.
Homeowner association, I think.
Homeowner association, usually run by a 90-year-old fat woman who hadn't had sex in 1,000 years. Angry as she can possibly be, making dumb decisions. HOA fees, anybody in a condo, you're going to get hammered, man. If you own a condo and you're renting it out thinking that you're clever, I think HOA fees go up forever. Bitcoin doesn't have any of that.
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm 70 years old or I'm 17 years old, the effort for me to acquire Bitcoin is identical. If Michael Saylor's over there buying 1,000 a week and I'm buying 10, the energy required is identical. Michael is extremely much better known than I am. He does not have an edge on Bitcoin. In fact, my purchases are cheaper than Michael Saylor's. Now, how is that possible? Michael Saylor's buying 1,000. He knows everybody. And Gary Schmal Cardone is able to buy at a better price than him. And some of you guys are still fighting me over this. And it's like, wow. Seriously, guys. I have a lawyer and an accountant who have seen me very close, like in detail, for the last 7 years. And one of them said the other day, wow, man, I wish I'd have known about this Bitcoin thing. I'm like, bro, how many times have I told you? Okay. They don't remember me talking about it. They're literally going, wow, when are you going to sell it, dude? I'm like, when am I going to sell it? You asked me that at 60, then 70, then 80, then 90. We're at 115 and you're still going, bro. These are the people that are going to get crushed because they're going to race in here at the very last hour when it's 175. And they're going to get stuck on this 4-year climb and they'll have to hang through it and it'll teach them a good lesson. And then they'll love Bitcoin, but they will go through the cycle, whether the cycle is identical or not. A lot of people aren't paying attention, man. A lot of people are not paying attention. See, when I was in the 2000s, when Google and the internet, I didn't enjoy any of that, right? I couldn't invest in Facebook, dude. First off, I think he is a scumball. And so I don't invest with scumballs. But how could you ever imagine that a company that does what Meta does could make $1 million every 9 seconds? I didn't even think that was possible in our country. That there's something wrong with a company whose CEO admits to cooperating with federal agencies without disclosure to its shareholders, and perpetrated COVID as a lie, and perpetrated the throwover of Donald Trump with agency help, man. And they make $1 million every 9 seconds. If that's the world you want to live in, that's awesome. This is where I could get to anarchy very quick. Because when I hear that story, dude, that story, in my opinion, is worse than the cartels in Mexico. Because at least in the cartels in Mexico, you know they are criminals. They are not given front row passes to the Trump administration or the Biden administration or this party or that party. $1 million every 9 seconds. And you don't like Bitcoin? Shit. You understand that number, they need to make, 12 million every 60 seconds in 3 or 4 years. For them, that number has to go up. And guess whose backside that's coming out of? It is coming out of you, dude. Yeah. Right? It's coming out of every user. This is, I don't use Facebook, but it most certainly is a vampiric on the customer use case itself. I don't think the company survives doing that. And so you start talking about morality. I have no interest in making money from people taking money from people that are really small. It's not fair for them, okay? I've never liked this. Come pick on me. Come, like every year I call my bank up, hey man, all those fees, reverse them. It's not right, man. It's not right that they do that for me and they don't do it for you. I'm going to take advantage of it, but it's not right. They're literally treating me better than they're treating you. And this is where open source, I just want to live in a world that's open source and I get to do what I want to do. And it's all, volumes will explode. If they just stop the traps, the volumes will explode. And this is what they're always the legacy players are always scared of their industry becoming commoditized because the margins, collapse. But everyone forgets, the energy guys most certainly didn't get this. Your volume of transactions go up 20, 30x. And the whole industry actually benefits from collapsed margins, very, very efficient margins. Oil producer makes $6 on $65 product. Google makes $22 on a $66 product. $22 on a $66 product, and Exxon might make $6, dude.
Yeah.
Something's wrong, right?
When you think about open source, decentralization, and a current situation like you describe, maybe this is a nice question also to wrap this up, because I think you also talk a lot about, the Bitcoin's true value. It is beyond price or the speculation we talked about or investment, right? Eventually, it is a magnet for value, for wealth, people moving towards Bitcoin, demonetizing real estate, these overvalued companies, forcing them to be more aligned with either themselves, their mission, whatever they're doing, right? I think that capital moving towards Bitcoin is basically a market force that no one has probably ever expected, right? Just a blob of money moving to another asset. When we look at the future, of course, I'm talking about Bitcoin for millennials, but also, for younger generations like your kids. How do you see Bitcoin fundamentally reshaping money, wealth creation, perhaps even society with this decentralization, open source? Like, what is your big idea for the future? What do you think will happen maybe after you are not even here anymore? What does that look like?
Well, your world is going to be a lot less entertaining without me. We have too many people that are too serious about everything. What do I think the world will look like? I don't know, man. I really do not know what this world is going to look like. So I just do it in a really basic way. I consider myself to be, my job as a man is to better my position in some way. I don't have anything else better to do than what I'm doing on Sunday mornings, trying to become maybe a more helpful instrument than I have been in the prior 40 or 50 years. I think I've accumulated enough experience now that maybe I can tell a story that other people maybe can listen to. I'm reminded by, I read quite a bit, and it's really been fascinating that through Bitcoin, I have had more time to read, and I have chosen to go to less unproductive environments for my energy. For instance, I hate meetings. And the reason I hate meetings is because when the most important meetings end up happening with one or two people. And the least important meetings happen with everyone in the company. Now that is stupid. Why would we gather together the whole company? Oh, we're going to bring everybody up to speed this month. No, you're not, dude. You're not telling everybody the truth. You're just doing a pump and rump, right? It's a high school. Hey, yay, the principal's here. We're all getting together, and we really value you until we have to make a significant decision, and Gary and I will make it outside of this meeting. So it's crazy to go to big companies like this. Okay, I don't want to. I built so many of them there. As soon as HR shows up, I'm gone. I'm done. Get me out of here. Okay, HR has done nothing to help HR, human resources. How about intellectual capital department? The intellectual capital department. You should hire someone like me all the time. They don't want to hire me because I create too many problems. I actually go, hey, maybe we should do this, man. Oh, wow, that's not in our budget, dude. So my job, man, my job is to look, I'm playing a Monopoly game. I'm holding my space on the board. Like literally, I can read all day long, but I do need an action. Like I like making a decision and placing a bet on that decision. And when it starts going wrong, I'll loosen up on that bet, right? I'll like start looking for something else. You have a whole complex. I mean, some of the miners, I don't know if I spoke about this, but like you got some miners here, man, attracting some of the largest companies in the world. Now, I don't really like the Bitcoin mining business. I happen to be in some of them, but I think these things are they're going to, some of these companies, I mean, one of these companies is up 60% in 3 days. You know, going up $1.5 billion on a $3 billion deal that Google shows up with. I think the industry, the audience doesn't really understand $3 billion for Wolf is a big deal. $3 billion for Google. It's a one bet, man. Okay. These are not large numbers to Google. It may be a large number to you, but these are tiny numbers, man. They're buying companies for 50 and 60 and $100 billion. Their AI capital expenditure is in the tens of billions of dollars a year for the next 5 years. I can't even remember the number. It's so large. So for them to do a $1 billion credit deal, it's not even hitting their balance sheet probably. I mean, that's the crazy thing. Google didn't use cash probably. So, oh, by the way, Warren Buffett, Warren Buffett's allocation is extremely concentrated. He has more cash sitting on the balance sheet than ever before, massive concentration in cash. 50% of his holdings is in 4 or 5 companies. Okay. And I think his era of investing is over. Done, gone, bye, see you later. In fact, the greatest investors in the world are going to be Bitcoin holders, because this is the greatest value play in the history of mankind, dude. I have literally for 6 years bought Bitcoin off an exchange or exchanges with fees cheaper than 11 of the 12 months of a miner's life cycle. I am buying Bitcoin cheaper than it is to mine it. And that is what the first day I met Saylor back in the 20, I'm like, dude, I love you. You know that farming is a horrible business. It's a horrible business, man, farming. You have to own the land. Miners don't own the land. You have to own the seed. Miners don't own the seed. You have to own the fertilizer. Nope, got to go buy the fertilizer. Oh, you have to buy you don't own the tractor company. You have to buy the tractors or lease the tractors. Everything a farmer does, including the labor itself, he has to deliver. The same with a miner. Miner has no energy, no property, no capital, no cheap capital, no engineering skills really related to energy, no understanding of energy, energy volatility. And I can buy Bitcoin for 115 grand, dude. Zero of those, none of those exposures. And I think Mara is making Bitcoin at $137,500 today, and the price is $115. You can go buy Mara's Bitcoin, or you can just buy Coinbase Bitcoin or Kraken's Bitcoin, and then do whatever you want with it. Self-custody, ETF it, MTF it, do whatever you want. I think people should get into every knick, knack, and cranny of this industry. Like I own ETFs, miners, MicroStrategy, Bitcoin in almost every fashion, flavor you could fucking possibly imagine. Okay, I've borrowed fiat to buy Bitcoin, and I've got it on exchanges and wallets, ETFs and mutual funds. And the 15-year businesses don't go away, man. This is now the holy grail of inertia. You do not lose a $2 trillion industry, dude. No $2 trillion industry. Energy in motion tends to stay in motion until an opposing force. This is inertia, folks. It's physics. It is not like I don't have to be that smart, man. I don't know why Gary's really smart. No, I'm not, dude. This is really basic. A motion in motion tends to stay in motion. Bitcoin's been going up 16 years, invited to every country club on planet Earth, every one of them. Never in history, dude. I have never been invited to all the country clubs, much less at 15. Yeah. This is the stallion, okay? This is a thoroughbred. Imagine you betting against a 16-year-old thoroughbred that's competing against 60-year-old horses, all cobbled together, dude. They got iron on them. It's like the old days in the swords when they were doing the two guys go up.
Yeah, the jousting.
Jousting, like, bro, it's such kinetic warfare, and the waste they're carrying. These Bank of America will not survive this. Not in its form. Barclays will die, dude. Barclays, if you go listen to the CEO of Barclays, we're a 420-year-old banking dynasty. We've raped everybody on the planet forever. That is not a good commercial. I'm 430-year-old dinosaur. Yeah. They don't even know who they are, dude, or what they do.
I think
they do not know what their core business is. That's amazing. Barclays, 420-year-old bank, cannot define what its core activity is.
I translate that to this is your opportunity, right? You either see it or you don't. We have time. What does Satoshi say? I don't have time to explain it to you, right? Like you either get it or you don't. I think that was a great ender. Thanks so much for sharing. I'm grateful for your time and for this conversation. It was I think a nice just exchange of thoughts, and I hope people found it valuable. And thank you, man. I appreciate you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, buddy. Great way to start the week. You guys
Yes.
be awesome.
Thanks.
And I know, Bram, you're going out and helping somebody daily, right? You're doing this anonymous. That's right. That's awesome, buddy. Thank you. You're really good for the industry, buddy. I really appreciate you being here.
Appreciate you too. Thank you.
Thank you.